Welcome to another episode. On today, we're going to look at a very exciting topic about bosses, how to handle toxic bosses. For anyone who has worked long enough, at some point, if you're lucky to go through your life without any issue with any of your bosses, you should thank the gods. But if you are like me, who has had tens of bosses, at some point you interact with a few who really are toxic. And so if you are one of those who has experienced a toxic boss or are experiencing right now, we're going to look at how to handle toxic bosses. I know how challenging it can be. I understand how negative your life should feel right now, how unfortunate things are going for you right now. However, there are things you can do. But before we get there, I know this topic, this word of toxic is thrown around unnecessarily. So the question is, who is a toxic person? But if that could be a different issue, the main question for this episode is, who is a toxic boss? So I was thinking some of the things that can be seen as signs of a toxic boss. And let me list a few. So I was searching. The worst and the most annoying one is a micromanager. You feel watched 24/7. That really sucks. There are a few others who really derail your career growth. There's those who when you want to take leave, they are shaming you. Others are working so hard. Why are you going on leave? Or you're going to leave all this work for your colleagues? Okay. And then there's this other group who don't have a vision or goals or drive. They're just there. And the ones that are annoying are those who blame you for everything. But when things go well, then it takes the glory. Then there are those bosses who do not use KPIs or any specific metrics to measure you. It's mostly about wins, how they feel. So if there is a KPI or metrics, it's so unclear. Then a lack of transparency is another issue. Things are going on that even affect you and you do not know. They don't tell you. They're hiding it from you. Another one is the episode before, favorites. Someone who plays favorites, specific people for whatever reason. And the last episode before this, we handled how to handle favoritism at work. And then this sounds trivial, but appreciation for work, at least successful work that you've done, being noticed or being appreciated for the effort that you did. There's one sign that I find really, really annoying: the movement of goalposts. They are indecisive. One time you are doing this, then following day they come and tell you this, they give you feedback on this, then the next time they come and they are changing the feedback, telling you this is not what I requested, while clearly that's what they are requested. Then lastly, the reactive mode. They are always putting out fires and lighting them. Oh my God, those can be annoying. So it's a few examples, and I do know that you have some more. However, the next points that we're going to look at, and there are 8 in total, is how do you handle these toxic bosses. Point number 1, or tip number 1, is document everything clearly. Okay, there are 2 things you're going to do here. Keep records. What do I mean that? Maintain detailed notes of your achievements previous discussions, previous successes, any positive feedback you've received from your colleagues, the stakeholders you're handling, or customers. Keep that. Another thing you can do is track all the negative interactions. Write down the dates, the time, the details of any negative interactions you've had. This will help clarify and articulate your experience should there be need. Okay. So in documenting your work, you are going to focus on two things. What is positive, keep that nicely, keep it nicely, and what is negative, get the details to the time and date on that happened. Number 2 is seek direct and open communication. Tip number 2 is to request regular checkups. Tip number 2, is to seek direct open communication. What do I mean here is seek regular checkups. Okay, schedule regular one-on-ones with your supervisor or your manager and proactively discuss expectations, performance, and concerns. In that discussion, clarify the expectations politely but assertively. You can ask your manager to clarify what success looks like for them and what is failure and how does it look like. Ask very concrete expectations. For this helps in case there is movement of posts. So this can build on point number 1 where you document everything. So tip number 2, seek direct and open communication. Tip number 3, address concerns professionally. Should they arise, or if you're in this situation already, you need to address that concern. But the key word here is professionally. What you mean here is to approach this conversation professionally, focusing on impact rather than blame. Do not go to your supervisors and your manager and you're telling them that you always move goalposts, or you always are not settled. You gave me feedback last time of this, but now you don't. A good example, a good statement you can use when you're approaching your supervisor seeking for or addressing any concern is use a statement like this: I appreciate constructive feedback and want to improve. However, I've noticed feedback often highlights shortcomings without suggestions for improvement. Could we work together to create a clear development plan? Okay? And just listen to what they say. At the same time, you can create a regular feedback loop where you ask your manager for both positive and negative feedback proactively, because this then balances, okay, the input from them. So tip number 3, address your concerns professionally. Tip number 4, leverage your allies and advocates. What do I mean here? Build a network. Reconnect with your previous managers or colleagues who are aware of your achievements in the past. Their endorsement or their mentorship during this time may help validate your experience. And I think you can do here is seek peer feedback, where you can collect informal reviews or testimonials from team members who, in your opinion, you think recognize the effort you're putting in to work. So go out there and leverage on your allies and your advocates. Let them be the ones advocating for how wonderful and how a good performer you are. Number 5, escalate when needed. In brackets, in parentheses, with caution. Okay? Remember, you've done all the above 4 points. So you're now at the level of escalating. Discuss with the higher manager or HR. If the situation becomes increasingly toxic, consider approaching HR or a senior leader carefully. Come prepared with your facts. Don't go into that meeting with emotions. Frame your concerns as a team success issue. Position your discussion as concern for the overall productivity and morale rather than that you two have personal conflict. That will be addressed more professionally than the other way around. Then prioritize self-care is the point number 6, and this is to manage your stress and anxiety. Engage in activities. This I've said in so many episodes in the past. Activities outside your work to maintain a good mental health. And at the same time, you might seek coaches, mentors, counselors, therapists if you really feel overwhelmed. So prioritize self-care. Okay. Then second last, number 7 is evaluate your long-term career goals. Do an assessment. Honestly look at your current environment and ask yourself, does this align with my professional growth and my values? Okay. Then begin passively and actively exploring external opportunities outside the team if the situation shows no signs of improvement or resolution. Don't be stuck there to suffer. Look for other options. Okay. Then the last one is decide your limit. Here, define your boundaries individually, clearly. Determine your deal breakers and have clear criteria about how much longer you will attempt at improving this situation before pursuing new opportunities. So these are the tips on how you can handle a toxic manager. I hope they do help. And these 6 things, trust me, if you practice them, 8 things, you will at least sustain the environment at which you're working, even if it feels toxic. So I'm going to remind you one more time. Tip number 1 is document everything clearly. Tip number 2, seek direct and open communication. Tip number 3, address concerns professionally. Tip number 4 is leverage allies and advocates. Tip number 5, escalate if needed, parentheses, in or with caution. Tip number 6, prioritize self-care. Tip number 7, evaluate your long-term career goals. And tip number 8, decide what your limit is. Okay, in conclusion, remember, remember, your value as a professional isn't determined by one manager's opinion. I want to repeat that so that it sinks in. Your value, especially if you've been doing exceptionally well in the past, it's not determined by this one person who you've been dealing with in the last 1 year. You deserve a respectful work environment where your contributions are recognized. Remember that if the situation becomes unattainable, it may be healthier for you to move to a new organization, a new unit, a new function, a new division, where at least your expertise and experience are genuinely appreciated. If you find yourself in a situation where you really can't change that boss, even after implementing the 6 tips above, so it's at this point where you can plan to exit, because life isn't a place where you go through hell every single day and you have a choice. I hope these points, tips were helpful to you if you are currently going through a scenario where you're handling a toxic box. And for those of us listening and you have an idea, please add a few on the points as comments below. Let's share and let's open up to help each other. Again, thank you so much for joining Synergy Unpacked channel, where we look at life-work balance. And I hope today's episode was helpful on handling toxic bosses. Until next time, goodbye.